Imagine being a mother and finding out, discovering that your son isn't just troubled, he's accused of something unthinkable. Now imagine that that mother is the queen and the entire world is watching. What would you do if your child's darkest secrets became public headlines? For Queen Elizabeth, this was so much more than her worst nightmare, because how do you protect the crown when it's your own son putting the monarchy at risk? Once a royal with every privilege, now a man without a title. Once upon a time, he was the Queen's favorite son, but now the palace door has finally closed. Today, let's talk about the downfall of Prince Andrew, and let's explore the English that is used to talk about reputation, responsibility, and redemption. Though, quite honestly, I cannot imagine a scenario where there's redemption. There doesn't seem to be any kind of light at the end of the
Maxwell,
tunnel.
according to a palace source, staff were horrified to discover the bathrooms were stocked not only with toiletries but lubricant, condoms, and poppers, drugs intended to enhance sexual experience. Kinsey, the guy was out of control. This sounds like a P. Diddy party.
Yeah, and while these types of stories are humiliating, it does seem like here in the States, Andrew has bigger concerns. Pressure's mounting for him to testify before a key U.S. congressional committee. Members of the House Oversight Committee are urging him to disclose any information he may have about Jeffrey Epstein's activities. One Democratic rep told BBC's Newsnight that he wants Andrew to appear before Congress, even suggesting a subpoena might be necessary. That's going to be difficult to enforce with Andrew being abroad. But if Andrew travels to the United States, he would fall under congressional jurisdiction and could be compelled to testify. I think he'll avoid the United States like the plague, but I imagine that Fergie will be over here panhandling before we know it.
There's even conjecture now that he could flee the jurisdiction entirely, go to some country that doesn't have extradition treaties and get some protection there from any future action. And there's also been revelations or allegations that he was involved with wild sex parties in Thailand, Kinsey, perhaps involving ladyboys.
I have no reaction to that. I don't even know where to go with that one. I'm assuming that's an Andrew Loney story, and he's come out swinging lately with his Prince Andrew revelations. But all I can say is I hope that one's not true.
There was a time when Prince Andrew, Duke of York, was known as the Queen's favorite son. And let's be honest, most mothers have a favorite son, whether they admit it or not. A decorated Royal Navy officer and once a symbol of British prestige, he has now become a symbol of how quickly privilege can unravel. Unravel. Think of a ball of wool, and then you pull a thread and it comes apart, right? It unravels. And that seems to be the perfect metaphor for his life. His life is unraveling. In 2019, Prince Andrew stepped back from public duties after a disastrous BBC interview in which he attempted to explain his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. He should never have done that interview. Why? Because the interview raised more questions than it answered, and public outrage followed swiftly. Very, very quickly, there was public outrage. I can link, or I can link the link. I can put the link to that interview in the comments section if you like. Or if anyone else out there wants to help out, pop the link in the comments section. Ah, just looking at this image, he gives off creepy vibes. I'm sorry, but body language is a big indicator for me. It's the way I read people. There's nothing, I mean, I know that a photo is just a snapshot in time, but this does not look like, I don't know, a warm, kind, cuddly, lovely, empathetic person, because also in that interview, he completely disregarded the victims, whether he was guilty or not. He just refused to acknowledge them. It's that sense of entitlement, which really rubs me the wrong way. I can't say that I'm sad that he's been stripped of his royal titles. And I think most commentators and people who have interacted with him have had only negative things to say about him: rude, aggressive, and a couple other words that should not be said on this channel. So let's keep going. And as you look at this image, what words pop into your mind? So, since then, he has been stripped of his royal titles, military affiliations, and patronages. Once a figure of confidence and charm, confidence or arrogance, you be the judge, Andrew now finds himself largely sidelined. So he's on the sidelines. No one wants to have anything to do with him, reportedly living a quiet and isolated life on the Windsor estate. But wow, check out the house. I would be quite happy to be sidelined and living a quiet and isolated life in that amazing mansion. Wow, wow. Now, his story is one of denial. He said he never did it. Not only did he say that, he has no recollection of the victims. The victim who took her own life earlier this year. The victim who had been trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, just passed around from prince to millionaire to billionaire, and she was only 17 years old at the time. So his story is one of denial. He continues to say he doesn't remember her. He has no recollection of meeting her, even though there's a photograph of the two of them together. And then his story is also one of downfall and damage control. Well, that's what he tried with that interview, but it did not work. But his story is also it's also a cultural study in accountability, but he doesn't seem to know what the word means, accountability. Now, once upon a time, the monarchy could sweep things under the rug, but not anymore, because today the public demands transparency even from those born into power. And this is an interesting statistic. And I get all this information because I watch so many YouTube videos about this. About a decade ago, the monarchy was actually quite popular with an approval rating of somewhere in the high 80%, right? And now it's just over 50. And I think these stories with Prince Andrew and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have led to a decline in popularity. So now the public demands transparency. They want to know what's going on. It can no longer be hidden, swept under the rug. And they want transparency even from those born into power. Once upon a time, you could not ask royalty any questions. Now, as one royal historian put it, in the age of social media, that's what it is. It's social media. The court of public opinion is far more powerful than any crown. And hey, if you're on social media, you've probably heard the concept or the buzzword phrase, cancel culture, because public opinion is more powerful than any crown, than any monarchy, than any king or any queen, and definitely more powerful than Prince Andrew. Now, whether Prince Andrew will ever return to public life, oh, please, I hope not, remains uncertain. In fact, the public are demanding that he be put into prison. But anyway, one thing is clear. Titles can be inherited. He's been stripped of his title. He is now just plain old Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. So titles can be inherited, but trust must be earned. And you know what? This beggars the question. I have to ask this question. Is Prince Harry next on the list to have his titles stripped? If you're ready, let's dive into the amazing idiomatic language and vocabulary from the session. Fall from grace, to lose status or respect due to wrongdoing. So, obviously, Prince Andrew, oops, no longer Prince Andrew, has fallen from grace. So, after the scandal, even after that disaster of an interview, and the pictures leaked of him with Jeffrey Epstein, the book that the victim wrote, he definitely fell from grace. He lost his status. He lost respect from the public, also probably from his family members due to wrongdoing. Now, I hate to say this, but I do think that the Queen tried to sweep this under the rug. Favorite child? She's human. I mean, even though she were queen, I think maybe in some ways she was a mother first. So she tried to sweep this under the rug or under the carpet. That means she tried to hide or ignore the problem. But with the recent emails, the palace could no longer sweep this controversy. And another word, kind of street talk for controversy, is this shit show under the rug. And Andrew, I was about to say Prince Andrew, had so many skeletons in the closet, hidden secrets, embarrassing past events. There are, besides his association with a convicted pedophile, there are so many other skeletons in his closet. I believe Sarah Ferguson, his ex-wife, was borrowing money up to the tune of $2 million from Epstein. Then there are allegations of parties in Thailand with ladyboys. So many skeletons in the closet. Is he out of favor, no longer supported or trusted? Absolutely. He's out of favor. He's out of favor with Prince William and with Queen Camilla. I think King Charles, probably still has a bit of a soft spot for his brother, but he's out of favor with the rest and definitely out of favor with the public. And then we've got the last one, cut ties. That means to end a relationship or connection. Now, Andrew says that he went to visit Epstein to cut ties, to end their friendship. He could have sent an email, he could have sent a text message, but he went all the way to New York to cut ties. And the images that come out are of Epstein and a really young girl, almost a child, leaving the apartment, and Andrew poking his head out of the doorway. I don't think he went there to cut ties. From all of the allegations, he was really into young girls, very, very young girls. So he says he went to New York to cut ties to end a relationship or connection. I'm calling bullshit on that one, absolute BS. But I think now King Charles had to cut ties with him publicly. There was really no other choice. So what was the article and this video all about? Well, Prince Andrew lost his royal titles. No longer Prince Andrew, just plain old Andrew. Let's elevate that sentence. Prince Andrew fell from grace after losing his titles. We can add more details. Once the Queen's favorite, so once upon a time, he was the Queen's favorite. He fell from grace as the royal family cut ties. I wonder if anyone's even talking to him these days. And once a powerful royal, so once upon a time in the past, he was a powerful royal. Prince Andrew's fall from grace revealed how even privilege can't sweep scandal under the rug. Let's break that down. So, once upon a time, he was a powerful royal, but now he's fallen from grace. He's a disgrace. And you can't sweep scandals under the rug. You can't hide the skeletons in your closet, even if you are from the so-called privileged class, from aristocracy. So what do you think? Can someone truly recover from a fall from grace? Do you think that redemption is possible, or is the crime just too big? Is his lack of accountability the issue? His refusal to admit to what he's done, to offer an apology to the victim, though, like I said, the victim took her own life. So she committed suicide earlier this year after a life of trauma. I mean, can you imagine as a 17-year-old being trafficked like a sex slave? I'm kind of surprised that she made it all the way into her 40s, because she must have been truly traumatized. So I want to know your opinion. Do you think that Andrew can recover from this fall from grace? Would you like to join the conversation and write your opinion using one of today's idioms? And on that note, I'm Nas. It's ciao for now, but see you in the next episode, where we use trending topics, breaking news in advanced English. By the way, if you haven't already, could you take a moment to like and subscribe? And if you have a friend out there who is determined to level up and improve his or her life, then could you share this video with them? And oh, by the way, I just watched a video with it was a podcast with a polyglot, someone who speaks 9 languages. And what I gleaned from that podcast was that you need to commit at least 2 hours a week if you want to be able to speak the language fluently. 2 hours a week. How many hours are you committing to your English learning journey? Let me know in the comments, and hey, see you next time. Ciao.